There's a story that I cherish about a man, ironically, who loses his love of life. And he turns his eyes toward heaven. He says, Master of the universe, I've had enough of this world, enough of the crowds, enough of the noise, enough of the trouble. Show me the way to paradise. God says, very well. Leave your village, turn right, and start walking. You'll make your way to paradise. And so late one afternoon, he does that. He closes the shop. He leaves behind his life. He walks out of his village. He turns to the right, and he begins walking up the road. And he walks, and he walks, and he walks until nightfall comes. And now he is so tired, he needs to rest. Just before he lies himself down, he realizes there's no way to know which was the way to paradise and which the way back to his village. So he takes off his shoes and leaves them by the side of the road, pointing toward paradise. In the morning, he would wake up. But what he doesn't know is that in the middle of the night, as happens often in life, shoes get turned around. Was it an imp? Was it an angel? Was it a squirrel? Did he just become confused the night before? Shoes in the night get turned around. And when he wakes up in the morning, he jumps into his shoes and he begins walking, unbeknownst to him, homeward. Half a day, there it is on the next village. Half a day, there it is on the next hillside, a village. And his heart leaps with joy. It's paradise. I've made it to paradise. He runs down the hill and up the glen and into the village and sits himself down. And he takes in all of the life and vitality of the village. Children playing, adults at their work, the sounds of the market, the sounds of the world. What a place is paradise, he thinks to himself. But as the day goes on and night begins, he feels hungry and he feels tired. He wonders, paradise looks remarkably like my village. I wonder if there is a street like paradise. I wonder if there's a street like my street here in paradise. And just where he thinks it might be, there it is. And then a thought occurs to him, maybe there's a house like mine in paradise. And as he walks up the street, he beholds a house just like his. And at that very moment, there comes to the door a woman who looks just like his wife. And she says, come in, your soup is getting cold. He raises his eyes in prayer. A place is set for me in paradise. He says, I don't know what you're talking about, but your soup is getting cold. He comes into the house, and it's a wonderful house. Not like the one at home. This house is filled with love, with warmth, with memories. He sits at the table, takes a spoonful of soup, and is filled with its goodness. It's the best soup he's ever eaten in his life. The soup of paradise. He throws his arms around the woman and says, thank you, how can I thank you? She says, you can eat more soup, that's what you can do. He goes to sleep that night, the most restful sleep he's ever had. In the morning, he awakens, and his wife has breakfast on the table. He tells him it's time to go to work. And at first he blanches, how can there be work? But even in paradise, there's work. But work here is different than work before. Work here comes with a sense of service, creativity, and giving. That night after work, he returns to that beautiful woman, that warm and loving house. Do you know that old fool lived every day of his life, and no one could convince him he hadn't found his way to paradise? This year, may your shoes get turned around.